Hey, Roger.
Welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network, where entrepreneurs learn, network, and grow. I'm Roger Killen, the organizer. Today, Nancy Matthews is going to be training us on how to master sales without being salesy. Nancy, I have got 3 questions for you, and your answers will help us to get to know you as a human being. First question, what is your greatest accomplishment?
Raising my 2 children as a single mom.
Okay, that is quite an accomplishment. Second question, what fun fact would you like us to know about you?
I am a raving fan of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band and have been to over 80 of their shows. And I have a vision that one day I'm going to sing a song with him about the one philosophy.
Okay, well, I look forward to that. And the third and final question is, what impact would you like to have on planet Earth during your lifetime?
My impact would be co-creating with all of you a world where everyone treats each other as the one every single day.
Wow, that's reaching, but I absolutely love the reach and totally endorse the sentiment. Being kind is a lost art that we must bring back.
Agreed.
Participants, please turn on your videos. It's not much fun for Nancy to be looking at a bunch of black squares with names in them. So give her energy and she will repay you in spades. And you give her energy by
Here they come. Hi.
so she can see you. Number 2, please stay muted. But when you do have a question, type it into the chat. Then I will aggregate the questions and ask them of Nancy about at every 10-minute intervals. Rest assured, you'll get your question answered. Now, you're going to be sent a link to the recording of Nancy's workshop in a few hours. I nevertheless encourage you to take notes. The very act of taking notes is going to help you remember what Nancy says by as much as 35%. All right, Nancy, are you ready to knock our socks off?
I am ready, but I'm not wearing socks, so because I am in South Florida, but that's okay. Let's go.
Show is all yours. Take it away.
All right, welcome everyone. I am grateful to be here with you and this fantastic showing on the topic of how to master sales without being salesy tells me a lot about each and every one of you. It lets me know that not only are you an entrepreneur, but you're an entrepreneur who's here to make a positive difference. And perhaps the whole topic of sales might have gotten in your way in the past a little bit. My goal today is to support you in feeling clear and confident around sharing the gifts and talents and expertise that you have that only you can bring so that you can make a difference for others and earn a lot of money in the process. Does that sound like a good plan? Give me a thumbs up. Yes, yes, yes. All right, beautiful. Let me go ahead and I will share my slides. We'll go up here and make that tech magic happen. And as I said, it's about making an impact. And I like to start by acknowledging what I mean by impact and the definition. So the definition of impact is having a strong effect on someone or something, and in this environment, specifically, a positive impact. What I want to share with you today are 4 keys that are essential for you being the one that they ask to buy from. My whole premise is to support you in creating conversations with people that have them let you know what's going on in their lives. And then you get to be the one that they say, hey, how can I buy from you? I love what you're up to. And my intentions for you tonight are that you will leave feeling equipped and excited about sales. If you would love to feel that way, show me some love in the chat and say, yes, I want that. I want to be equipped and excited about sales. Number two is that you'll commit to consistently increasing your skills in sales and marketing through ongoing practice. We don't learn how to drive a car or ride a bicycle in just one try. Being great at sales is being great at practicing and really caring about people. And then the third intention I have for you today is that you will take on my mantra that I picked up from a beautiful woman named Florence Scovel Shin. And that mantra is, say it with me, I work with wonderful people in wonderful ways for wonderful pay. Isn't that why you became an entrepreneur? So that you could work with wonderful people in wonderful ways for wonderful pay. And my intention tonight is that you will feel that, and that will be the case for you. So here are the 4 things that we're going to go over tonight. Number 1 is, how do you have sales conversations and have people self-identify the need for your services? Number 2 is have them say, oh, yes, please tell me how we can work together. Number 3 is being able to melt away concerns and objections. And what I'm going to teach you tonight about overcoming concerns and objections, I don't know that you've seen before, and it works like a charm. So really get that pen and paper ready, especially when I get to the concerns and objections piece. And then the 4th key that I want to share with you today is how you go about keeping yourself in the energy of inspiration versus desperation. Being inspired and excited to meet people and talk with them and ask questions to find out what's happening with them, as opposed to, oh, I got to make this phone call because I need to make a sale. When you show up on a call, on a Zoom, doing a presentation with that energy of desperate to make the sale, people can feel it. Your anxiousness melts away, any confidence you might have had, and that also melts away the confidence people have in buying from you. So that's our goal tonight. I'm going to share these 4 things. As Roger said, he'll keep track of questions in the chat, and we'll make sure to make time for those. Now, before I dive in to sharing these 4 keys, I want us to take a moment and bust some of the misconceptions and myths about sales and salespeople. Because quite frankly, what I have realized in the last 20 something years of being an entrepreneur is that what we think sales is was caused by seeing pictures of this guy. Hey, you want to buy a car? Come on, come and get it, right? Like, that's not really what sales is about. So give me a response to this in the chat. Fill in the blank. Salespeople are what? And let me go ahead and see what we get in the chat. Salespeople are human. Thank you, Kareem. I like that. Pushy, hopefully heart-centered. I like it. Helpful. Advisors and consultants. Salespeople are knowledgeable. Yes. Problem finders, servants, everywhere, sleazy. Yep, there's some of that stuff. Annoying, right? Helpful, fun, a variety of things. And I want you to consider that if you feel any resistance to selling yourself, that you don't want to be sleazy or pushy or bother people, that's because somewhere you have this myth that salespeople can be very annoying, and you certainly don't want to do that. So I want to show you how to sell today in a way that's not annoying, that doesn't get on people's nerves. You know, I think that some of these myths were built from experiences we've had in the past. I think we've all experienced pushy, irritating salespeople that just, you know, chased you around the showroom when you were buying a car, right? Or like Willy Wonka says, oh, you're a car salesman. Tell me how you're not going to screw me. Or the Joker says, what's it going to take to put you in a new Batmobile today? Or, I don't know if you saw this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. Anyone here see the movie, The Wolf of Wall Street? Yeah. I got to tell you, I watched it, and I often watch movies as kind of like a social experiment to understand people better, since I'm in the people business. And when I finished watching this movie, I felt like I needed to go take a shower. Like, it was, Like, that's not what we want. So in order to transcend and master the art of sales without being salesy, we need to change our thinking. All right. So the same old thinking is going to bring, especially when it comes to sales, is going to bring around the same old results. So here's some of the old thinking that typically holds people back from mastering sales. The old thinking: I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to bother people. I don't want to be salesy. Here's a good one: they don't have the money. Well, if they wanted it, they would have called me. That old thinking produces these kinds of results, unfortunately. You don't make the follow-up calls that you need to make. When you do, they end up being great conversations, but they actually don't convert into sales. Sometimes you prejudge and disqualify people from your list. Oh, they probably can't afford it. They probably don't want it. All of that crap can get in the way. And then you end up spending your time and money on social media and marketing, but you're not getting results because even when the leads come in, you're not converting them. So for all of these things to change, we've got to change. And as the late, great Jim Rohn says, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Change your thinking and you will change your results. Now, the woman who sits before you today across the miles on the Zoom camera, I was not always good at this. In fact, I was a shy, self-conscious, low self-esteem little girl lost in Brooklyn, New York, who ended up getting pregnant at the age of 24 as a single woman. And I decided to have my child and keep him. I was busy looking for love in all the wrong places. And that's a story for another day. All I can say is back in the 1980s, with the wild and crazy Nancy life I was living, I'm really glad there was no Facebook to capture all of these moments, as I lived in Fort Lickerdale and graduated from Stony Yonta. So that there's been some transition that I've been through. I've grown up a little bit, as we all have. But in order to become the woman I am today, in order to transition from that young girl, that single mom, alone with a baby, confused and lost, to growing into a successful businesswoman, in the 2002, I opened my first business. It was a title company, real estate investment, foreclosure company. I taught seminars on how to buy and sell real estate. Most recently, back in 2008, my sisters and I created Women's Prosperity Network. I've recently launched another company called the People Skills Academy. I've co-authored all of these books. I've had the privilege of sharing the stage with some of the greatest business and transformational leaders: Jack Canfield, John Maxwell, Les Brown, Stedman Graham, Seth Godin. I mean, that little crazy mixed up girl from Brooklyn, New York, didn't even dream that she would have this life. And it was a continuous process of changing my thinking and getting comfortable with all things business related, which is why I love what Roger's up to with the Entrepreneurial Network. Like, how beautiful. You get access to exactly what you need to create the life that you want. Now, all of this has been great. Behind it all, as I'm sure you have, my why is about my children. So that's my daughter, Megan, on the left, my two grandchildren, my son and his third child on the right. And all the success in business is so that we can enjoy more with the people that we love. And if I had to say, what was the one biggest change for me as it relates to business, life, getting comfortable at sales, it is what most of you know from Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar says, you can have everything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want. And isn't that what sales and business is all about? Helping people get what they want. You have something other people want. So what I'm sharing with you tonight is what I refer to as the heart-centered, impact-focused sales process. It's a process where everybody wins. So I believe in a three-part win. Number one, your clients win because they're getting the results they want. Number two, you win because you're providing the value and the impact that you want. And number three, your business wins because you're generating revenue to stay in business, because without revenue, you don't have a business. And Thomas Walton from IBM said that nothing happens in business until a sale is made. And consider this: overcoming any resistance or challenge and getting really, really good and comfortable so that sales is natural and easy for you is the most important thing you can do. Yes, get good at your craft. Yes, continue to sharpen your skills. But sales is the lifeblood of your business. Every company has to sell something to exist. And nobody gets paid unless sales are made. I find it fascinating. It's so often the thing we pay attention to the least. We're on social media, we're building our websites, we're going here, we're going there. Just get with people and serve them first and foremost. And statistics show that 92% of all customer interactions happen over the phone or during live presentations. So you might be like, I really encourage you all, look at all the beautiful people that are here. Have follow-up phone calls, connect with one another. Like this is your own economy, but you got to connect. You got to follow up even beyond today. So statistically, it's proven that 48% of people never follow up. So half of you here will never make a follow-up call to the other people here. 25% will make a second contact and stop. 12% make 3 contacts and stop, and only 10% make more than 3 contacts. And this ties to, oh, I don't want to be pushy. Well, don't be pushy when you're following up. Follow up because you care about the person. Deliver value consistently so that you're known before you're needed. And if you're not following up consistently and all you're doing is looking for new leads, you're not nurturing the relationships enough. And the sale doesn't occur until the 5th to the 12th contact. So here's my question. When do you give up on a contact? I had a client that came in for an initial consultation with me, and she told me what her business was. It was MetaFast, and it was a multi-level marketing business for dieting. And when she told me the name of the company, MetaFast, I was like, oh, do you know Bonnie? And she's like, actually, I do know Bonnie. I met her about 3 months ago, and she asked me if I wanted to join her team. We had a conversation, but I wasn't ready then. And then last month, I met someone else from MetaFast, and I signed up under that person. I went into business with them because Bonnie never followed up. So get this. When you fail to follow up after having an initial conversation, or maybe even 2, you've just greased the wheels to make a sale easier for someone else. So I hope that stings a little bit, just enough to get you to want to follow up a little more. And when you follow up, don't make it about selling, make it about caring. And here's my first suggestion for all of you is to play a little game when it comes to doing follow-up and connecting with people. This is one of my clients, Marcella Shearer. She's an amazing image and leadership consultant. And she was resisting picking up that 500-pound telephone. And I said, you know what? Here's what I want you to do. I just want you to make some connection calls. You care about people. I know you do, Marcella. This week, I want you to make 10 phone calls and do not intend to sell them. I want you to just call people, care about them, and be excited about what's happening in your life. And I told her, take 10 Q-tips. And I learned this from Sandra Yancey at eWomen Network. Take 10 Q-tips and put them on the left side of your computer. Every time you speak with a person, you pick a Q-tip up and you move it to the other side. At the end of the week, you'll have moved your 10 Q-tips. After the very first phone call, she texts me and say, Nancy, it works. I made $2,800 without trying to sell. And that's the magic. When people feel you care, they will want to be in connection with you. So make it a game, pick up that phone and connect with people. Now let's move on to the 4 keys. So the first key in this process that I'm sharing with you, and what I'm sharing with you are a few pieces of actually a 12-step sales process that I train and teach people on in depth. I pulled out the most important ones to give you some really great groundwork to move on from here today. So the first key in having people self-identify the need for your services is by you asking the right questions. Asking really great questions when you're in a casual conversation, or when you're having, if those of you who might do consultation calls or complimentary discovery calls or low cost ones, you want to become an expert at asking questions. And when you meet people at networking events and you're doing that first high level follow-up, you want to ask questions that will have them share with you things happening in their life where they may have a challenge and you could be an expert. So how you language your questions is really, really key. And I love this example because whatever your product and service is, once we become experts at it, once we become really familiar with it, sometimes we get so close to the problem we're solving, we forget to talk about it in the language our prospects are actually using. Let me give you this example. When they first came out with the iPod many, many moons ago, if the marketing campaign or a salesperson called you and says, "Hi, would you like storage for 1 gigabyte of MP3s?" Most of us know what that is now, but back in the day, we had no idea what that was. That salesperson was speaking their lingo, their jargon, as opposed to what the customer and prospect would want. The way that they would have success in this conversation is, how would you like to have 1,000 songs in your pocket? I would love to have 1,000 songs in my pocket. And the challenge many times when you're networking and doing follow-up phone calls is you're asking people about gigabytes and MP3s, and all they want is a song in their pocket. So we've got to become an expert and adept at perfecting the art of listening and asking the right questions. And you got to do this early on in the conversation. You got to become a great interviewer. And this is about asking questions about their lives in the areas you know that your clients typically have challenges or unmet desires. And I'm going to give you a few examples of this in a few minutes. This process that we teach, Sherry Martin did this first module, came up with a list of questions, went out, did her follow-up phone call, and you can see she says, "I'm on my way to an appointment with a new client," from the very first call that I made, because she learned how to ask good questions. And the process of uncovering what are the right questions to be asking are focusing on the problems, what's the impact in their life, and then understanding. So let me take you deeper through this. Roger, should I check in? Are there any questions before I go into this piece?
I'll interrupt you when there are questions. And
okay.
You're clearly doing something either right or wrong, but there are no questions.
Oh, please let me know. Is it right or wrong? Tell me in the chat.
It's right. You're going into enough detail. Well done. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep doing it.
All right. So as you think about your ideal customer and you focus on their problems and pain points, I mean, this part is familiar to you. What are the problems you solve and how do you solve them? In having really great conversations with people that will have them self-identify a need for your products and services, we need to go deeper into what is the impact that having that problem creates in their life. So let's look at health and wellness. And I work with, thousands of clients to help them drill down on this. So a health and wellness coach, for example, they would say the problems are people are overweight, they have low energy, they have poor nutrition, they're not exercising, body aches and pains, and chronic illness. Okay, great. What is the impact in their life? Well, they're not doing the things they love. When they don't feel good, they're not doing the things they love. Maybe they're feeling embarrassed to go out with their friends or go on dates. Mostly they're staying at home, and they're probably spending a lot of money on doctors and drugs. So you see, we want to go deeper into what they're really feeling and experiencing. As a business coach, the problem you might solve is people are stressed, struggling, overwhelmed. They don't have enough clients, not enough money. Credit card debt is piling up. What's the impact? They're not taking any time off and or having vacations. They probably have difficulties in their relationships because they're working so many hours. They don't have enough time for their family, and the family might be feeling neglected. They're probably not sleeping well. So when you go to this deeper level, it allows you to ask questions in a very non-threatening way that would have people reveal if something is happening in their lives that you might be able to help them with. So here's where we go to the next level. So we take these problems and the impact, and here are the kind of questions that you could ask. So let's say you were having a follow-up phone call with somebody you met at one of these meetups 4 months ago, and you finally got around to scheduling a one-on-one. If you were one of these coaches, either health or business, a very general, non-threatening question you could ask that would have them identify if they have a problem that you could help them with could be, hey, how's your husband? Have you guys been on any fun dates lately? Well, they're either going to say, oh, everything is wonderful. My husband's business is doing great, and I'm doing great. We just got back from a whirlwind trip all around the country. We are just having a blast. My life is so good. Or they might say, oh, my husband's doing pretty well. We haven't been on any dates, with the pandemic and COVID going on. I'm staying home a lot. I'm drinking more than I should. And I don't even exercise. I'm just tired all the time. Well, if you're a health coach, didn't they just identify something you might be able to help them with? If you're a business coach, the same thing. Another general kind of question, how have you been faring with all the craziness in the pandemic? I know several of my clients needed to pivot. How have you been managing? And you do this from a place of just listening and asking questions to find out about their life and what's happening. You may say, hey, have you ventured into Facebook Live land or TikTok? Hey, did you see that TikTok the other day with noodles? Today was a bones day, or it wasn't a bones day. And some of you know what I'm talking about, and some of you don't, because I go on TikTok just a little bit. But if you know about bones, tell me the dog's name and I'll send you something special. So if you know the dog that I'm referring to from TikTok, I'm just curious, put it in the chat. Is it a bones day or a no bones day? Did we get anybody in there?
Not so far.
Not so far. Okay. I'll drop that in on you a little bit later then. So being able to have a casual conversation with intentional questions will turn those conversations that you think are going to lead somewhere, but then people don't end up wanting to buy from you, or it doesn't even come around to you talking about your business. You can't just talk about the weather. You have to be intentional. And you've got to do the pre-work to really looking at what is happening in their lives because they have this challenge. So as you ask these questions in a very non-threatening way, people will naturally share with you and have their answers self-identify a challenge or desire in an area that you can help them with, creating this natural flow to what I call the magic phrase. So let's say in that previous scenario, you asked, hey, how's your husband doing? Have you been on any fun dates lately? And you're a health coach. So, oh, no, we haven't. We've really been cooped up, and I'm trying to get creative with meals, but we're still ordering in. And geez, I got the COVID-20. The magic phrase is as follows. Well, would you like me to share? I might be able to give you some suggestions around that. Would it be okay if I share how we can work together to help you get the result that you want, the result they stated? So at this part of the conversation, you want to have had enough conversation with them for them to let you know they don't like having the COVID-20 and they want to make a difference. Now, tonight, I'm only having time to share pieces of this anatomy of the sales process. And I want to fully serve you. So you can get more in depth on these. There's actually 12 steps in this impact focused sales process. 12 steps, and just go to womensprosperinetwork.com/impact-sales. And you'll get the 12 steps in a PDF guide, as well as a video where I go through all 12 of those steps. So you can just go to that website so that, and take this in. We got to practice. We got to keep getting better at it. So when you do this magic phrase, oops, let me go here. Would it be okay if I share with you now how we can work together to help you get rid of that COVID-20? Like, they've already told me they don't want it anymore. Would it be okay if I share with you now how I could help you get rid of that? Anytime I ask that question, people say, yes, please tell me, because I've done the pre-work. Some of you are getting no's or not getting to yeses because you're probably asking for the sale too early in the conversation. You've got to build, you got to let people do lots and lots of talking so they can tell you what it is that they want and need. So this place of having them say, yes, please tell me how we can work together. Remember, you've got to do the prep work and lay a caring, heart-centered foundation first. And this piece here is key. You've got to know what your pricing, programs, and products are first. Because when you are listening to someone share what they're going through, you're the expert. And when it comes to that point and say, please tell me how we can work together, you want to be able to answer with, based upon what you've shared with me that you're going through right now and the goals that you want to achieve, I believe either my platinum program or my silver program is what's going to get you there best. But you got to know what's in the offerings to have the confidence to just say that, as opposed to what some people do, and I see this happen far too often. Okay, let me get back to you and I'll send you a proposal. No, they're with you. They're feeling your expertise. They're feeling your heart. Plan in advance to know what your offerings are, so that when somebody says, yes, please help me, and that's what they're saying, please help me. And let me say this, I probably have been on a little bit of a soapbox, but I'm going to go on it again, because when you have a conversation with someone and you don't let them know what's possible to work with you, hear me clearly, you're leaving them stuck in their problem. Because you didn't conquer getting really great and comfortable with sales and spend the time putting your pricing and your programs together, you're leaving people stuck in their problem. It's not your responsibility whether they buy from you. It's your responsibility to let them know how they can get the result that you offer.
Nancy?
Yes.
Before I lose it on the chat, here are some offerings for the dog's name. Snoopy, Noodle. Who
knew that?
And the winner is Suzanne Beers.
Suzanne Beers, you like Noodle.
E-R-S. Thank you. Suzanne, you've won something.
I'm going to send you a copy of my book, The One Philosophy.
Now, if you happen to want to send that book also to Mary Elaine Petrus.
Oh, Mary Elaine probably has it.
All right.
I do.
Okay,
I do. Thank you.
Awesome.
Now, Dr. Kevin Papart wants to know what on earth is COVID-20?
COVID-20?
I think it's to do with 20 pounds.
Oh, yes, it is. Forgive me. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, I've got, maybe you didn't get the COVID-20. You're pretty lucky.
COVID-20 is when you put on 20 pounds weight.
Right.
All right.
Exactly.
Question from Mom W. If your product is technical, would your questions still be about their personal life?
It might be about their business life. So if you're doing a B2B call, so let's say you're following up with, you sell copy machines, and I don't know, if you want to come on screen, I'm happy to work with you. Who was that?
That was Tom W.
Tom W, are you in the house? Hi, Tom. What's your product or service? Oh, can you come off mute?
I don't have one right now. I'm just talking about, all I deal with is all technical stuff. So
yeah, so let's say you sell computers, or you sell copy machines, or software
or software or special network services or whatever.
Yeah. So what you would do is you would ask questions of the business owner to find out how that area of their business. So let me use an example. Let's say you sold a software that was for a customer relations management tool, like Keep or Infusionsoft or MailChimp. Let's say that was your product that you sold, technical in nature. You would do a follow-up phone call and say, hey, Tom, it was great to meet you at the Entrepreneurs International Network the other night. Tell me a little bit about your business. And then you would start to tell me a little bit about your business. And I would ask questions like, how long have you been at this? Do you have a big customer base? I bet you have a really big email list. Oh, you know what? I've been struggling with that for years. Bam, they just self-identified. But you go in real soft just to find out about them. And then here's the thing, you want to pre-plan the types of questions you're going to ask, but you have to stay really present and listen for their answers. Because this is a conversation. It's not a one-way ticket. You want to be, just like I would listen to you right now and I needed to go in another direction. When you're in conversation with people, be fully present. And in the one philosophy, that's principle number one, talk less and listen more.
Got it.
Awesome. Was that helpful, Tom?
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Are there any other questions? I'm happy to answer a couple.
No further questions? Back
Okay.
to you, Nancy.
All right, beautiful. Let me come back here and we will continue. All right, so having them say, yes, please tell me how we can work together. You've got to do the prep work, lay that caring, heart-centered foundation first, and you've got to know what your pricing, programs, and products are first. What I love to point out is that I know most of you will tell me that you are open to receive. Are you open to receiving? Give me a yes, yes, yes. Great. Are you also prepared to receive? People want and need what you have to offer. You've got to let them know how to buy it from you. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of creating a variety of offerings so that you can meet people where they are. And this is often referred to as a funnel. And I teach something called funnelology. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that today. But here's the thing. To be prepared to receive, you want to have a variety of offerings so that you can meet people where they are. So you want to have something that's free or low price, like we're just getting to know each other today. Did I get, I didn't come in wanting to sell you something for $5,000. No, I said, take this free thing. Get this training, get to know me a little bit better. So we all want to have something that builds that know, like, and trust factor. Then you next want to have something that's medium to high price. As people get to know you and like you, they'll adopt what you have, they'll become your customers. And then you want to have that higher level offerings for people who you retain, they become your advocates, and they become your ultimate clients. Now, one of the things that I see too many entrepreneurs struggle with is they spend all their time trying to figure out what their free thing is, when in fact, I challenge you all, come up first with your optimal solution. So this is how this works. I want you to imagine that you are sitting across a table or a Zoom from somebody who is your ideal client, and they're sitting there with every single problem that you can help them solve. that you can give them their transformation and their results about whether it's in their business, their health, their relationships, their money, whatever those things are. If you were sitting with your ideal client who had all of these problems and you offered them, oh, okay, great, here's my, $200 something or other. Are you really helping them? Be prepared to receive largely and serve largely, but by knowing first, what is that larger, biggest way that you provide transformation for people? Then from that larger package, you can create smaller pieces. And if you want to know more about that, I'm happy to dive in a little bit deeper. I love to play with funnels because it means you're serving more people and making more money. And that's what it's really all about, is us being able to do the work we're here to do. Now, I want to show you why one of the reasons that building your sales skills is so key. So let's say you go ahead and you put your different offerings together. Here's another way to look at the funnel. And let's say you have something for free, you have your low-level offer, your mid-level offer, your high offer. And now let's talk about sales. If you had 500 contacts, and most of us know 200 people in our circles and another 200 out. So let's just say between all the business cards lying on your desk and all the Zooms you've been to, blah, 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 500 people. And if you were successful and skilled at closing at a 10% sales closing ratio and had your offers laid out, so you have your free offer, let's say you have a $97 offer, a $497, and then a $5,000 coaching program. At a 10% closing ratio of the 500, 50 of those are going to buy your 97. At a 10% closing ratio from that 50, 5 will buy your 497, and then would have 1 to buy the 5,000. That comes out to $12,335. Now I want to do a math test. What do you think would happen to that $12,000 number if you just got a little bit better at sales, just a little bit better? And let's say you moved from 10% closing ratio to a 20%. You do this training, you get better at it, you practice. What do you think the number would go to? Tell me in the chat. From 12,000, what would the number go to if you move from a 10% closing ratio to a 20%? Give me some numbers in the chat. Come on, just guess. There we go. 24,000. Carrie says 50,000, 30,000. Excellent. About 40, about 50. Excellent. You people are smart. I'm loving it, because most people think it just doubles. But watch what happens when you do this. That same 500 people, you get 100 people to buy the 97, 20 the 497, 4 people, almost 4 times the amount. Now let's say your business is larger. And you have 5,000 people in your database. You have those another type of funnel with offers. So let me go ahead and do the math on this. 5,000 people in your database. Your different offerings are 200, 995, and 10,000. This was a model we had at one time in our company. 10% closing ratio gets you almost 200,000. Get a little better at sales. Bring it up to 20,000, 20%, and now look at where you're at. Almost 800,000. Who here wants to get better at sales? It's the single skill that will make you more money and have you serve more people. You can go build a website, you can go do social media, but if you're not converting those leads, what are you doing? You got to get better at sales. And remember, that's what keeps the business running. So,
Nancy, a few questions, if I may.
Yeah, grab that free sales training and go right ahead.
So Naz asks, please give us some advice about online content selling. Online content selling.
So so are you saying you put a program together and you want to sell it online, like through webinars, or are you talking about just email marketing or landing pages? I need a bit more specificity.
Naz, could you come online and talk to Nancy?
Hi.
Hi, Naz.
There, where are you?
Yeah, I'm at, yeah,
Question, Naz?
yeah, actually, I've started working on my artwork. I'm basically a graphic designer, and
Uh-huh.
well, kind of some like I have a some like passion for artwork and fine art. So I actually now I've started kind of a one page in sachiart.com.
Mhm.
And
Let me ask a question. What is the price range of your art that you're selling?
well, I actually have a three price range. So like from 200 to, for example, 800. So yeah, people can buy 200 or 500 or 800, for example.
This is a great question and an example that will serve lots of people. So thank you for asking the question.
Thank you.
Typically, people will purchase products and services online that are at less than $100 is a relatively quick clickable purchase, right? But if you go over $200 into the $500,000 range, that is going to require most typically some type of conversation to speak with someone, uncover what kind of art they want, what would they want to use this for, and then the sale would happen over the phone or over a Zoom. The exception to that is when you've built up your brand and you now have brand recognition and lots of reviews written. People buy based upon other people's reviews. Like we've gotten into this world where conversation marketing is really what I call it. It's all recommendation. So while you're building up your brand and your presence on social media, then you'll be making phone calls and having meetings and talking to people to have them buy your art. And then whoever does buy your art, you want to make sure that you get lots of testimonials so that they're saying, how they feel. And you might want to look into, for your marketing, I'm going on a little tangent here, look up something called the Life Force 8. Life Force 8. If you Google that, there is the Life Force 8 speaks to the kind of language that you want to use in your copywriting that's mostly based on emotions, social proof, and people wanting to keep up with the Joneses and feel good, and art falls into that category. So look up the Life Force 8.
Question from Emily.
Sure.
As a real estate investor whose customer is burned out, I think it means whose customer is a burned out landlord, and people going through distressed events like bankruptcy.
Yeah.
What kind of questions should I ask?
Oh, great. I lived that, my friend. I was in real estate distressed properties for a long time. The type of questions you want to ask is to uncover what really matters to them and to show up as a human being, really caring about them, because especially people in bankruptcy or foreclosure, they're being bombarded with every yellow letter that, people are getting from list to sell. So, hey, I would say something like, if you get the opportunity to be on a phone with them or text or get on a Zoom, I would say, hey, I'd start off saying, I know that this must be a challenging time for you. And I just wanted to ask you some questions to make sure you're aware of all the rights that you have in this scenario. Did you, you're going straight in on the scenario because they know that you're calling about real estate and about their property.
Leslie asks, what about the concept that too many offers are confusing?
I agree 1,000%. So when you're in your sales conversation, and you're going to get, when you get my my free training, this will be included in that. I'll go into it deeper. When you go through the sales process and you ask that magic phrase, would it be okay if I share how we could work together so that you could finally get that dream home that you've always wanted, or whatever it is. Or work together so you can get rid of the 20 pounds you gained during COVID and feel better and start going out with your husband again. Like, I'm not just talking about the specific result. You want to go back to that impact that it has in their life. And so here's where it comes to the confusing offers. Based upon what you've shared with me, either my platinum program or my silver program is going to serve you best. I really think the platinum is the one that's the right fit. So let me talk about that one first. And the reason that I do it in that fashion, especially if you're selling services like this, is when you can, you want to give the prospect the power of choice. It has them feel in control. It's a very nuanced technique. Having to do with neurolinguistic programming and giving people power. Like when my kids were little and it was time to take a bath, I was like, do you want to take a bath in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes? They were taking a bath. Do you want the platinum program or the silver program? You're going to get one of them. So no more than 2 is my suggestion. No more than 2. And when you go through your pricing and your offers, let's say they say, okay, well, tell me about the platinum program. No, I don't think I can do that. Da, da, da. All right, well, let me share what the silver is. Oh, no, I don't think I can do that. Well, have that $97 thing so they buy something from you. And not just so they buy something from you, so they get on the path towards the solution that they want. Always keep that in mind. That's why you want to have that variety there.
Suresh wants to know, how would you use this if you're selling low-priced products?
So you would probably, I need more information. And are you selling low-priced products like, cups for $10? What are you selling?
Suresh, if you'd like to unmute.
Yeah. Okay. Good evening, Nancy.
Hi, Suresh.
I'm calling from California.
Hey.
Okay. I've invented a product. Okay, that incorporates toothbrush with a tongue scraper.
Okay, good.
Okay? So I have a patent on it, and I'm trying to create a brand new category.
Good for you.
But I'm selling it for $20, right? And that's what it is.
Yeah. So you want to employ you're going to sell those mostly online, and I would recommend that you do, teleclasses, webinars, brand exposure, YouTube. And if you have the budget for it, like create some funny commercials. Like, did you ever see the Poo-Pourri commercial? No, look it up, because you have the opportunity to create something really funny here, and that's going to help you sell. So that's a different marketing approach with a $20 product. Where you would use this technique is when you get to the place where you want to start to sell this to Whole Foods and other big distribution. Then you want to get into this consultative sales process to find out from the store, where do they have, where would they like to increase their revenue? You're going to bring them what departments aren't doing well. So that's how I would use that. But look up the commercial for Poo-Pourri, P-O-O-Pourri. It's like a play on the word potpourri. It's very funny.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Jason asks, should you put all your prices on your website or have them call? Should you tell them prices over the phone or have meet with you first for a consultation?
Yes, meet for a consultation first, especially if you're talking about something that's in the, thousands dollar range, is to meet with them so you can have this conversation and really uncover what it is that they want. I'm on the fence about whether you should put your pricing on your website or not, because it might scare some people away, but it also can qualify people. So I typically, you won't find on my website where you can hire me for $30,000. That is only a one-on-one conversation, but you can. And I'm only going to do that when I'm in a, conversation with someone. Pricing on my website, we put it up, I think, till about $3,000 is about the highest I would go. but you may be in a slightly different industry and we could talk about it if you wanted.
Julie's question is, how do you market without Facebook ads and email?
So Facebook ads, let me say this about that. If you're, and perhaps there's a Facebook ads expert on here, I am not one. And do not invest any money in Facebook ads unless you hire an expert. Quite frankly, in my humble opinion, that is nothing but a donation to the metaverse, and they have enough of my money. If you're going to do Facebook ads, do it right. Hire a Facebook ads expert and be prepared to pay them and have a budget for the ads. You're looking at anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 a month to really have Facebook ads work for you. So how do you market without that? I think you do need to have an email list. And if you don't have an email list, and the question comes to what is it that you're selling? So if you, and what are your financial goals? I had a client who was totally out of commission for 5 years, taking care of his ailing father. His father passed away. We met and he had no website, no business card, no presence on social media for 5 years, but we got clear on what his pricing was and what his offer was. He became prepared to receive. He knew what he could do to help people and he knew how to charge it. Within 30 days, he had earned $26,000. So I go back to, you can definitely do marketing without Facebook ads or email. You're going to be having conversations. You could be connecting with the people here and have follow-up phone calls. Like that's marketing too.
Kareem asks, if I sell my services at a lower price than the competition in order to gain customers, is that a put-off to some potential customers?
It could very well be. So the way that you might want to do that is offer a first-time client discount, and they only get that special when they come to you the very first time. You could also, and who was that asked that question?
Kareem Varani.
Kareem, what kind of business do you have?
I have a printing business. I'm an online printer. I work from home, so I deal with large trade printers, and they give me a price which I can pass my discount on to my clients, so I can really undercut the commercial
so
printers.
You broker printing? Is that
Yeah,
what
I
you
do? Yeah.
Yeah, if you can be the best game in town at the lowest price, you'll get a lot of business as long as you've got your profit margins built in there. So I don't know, it might put off, like people might think it's cheap or something. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I mean I sort of blow away the competition really, because these trade printers supply a lot of the commercial printers.
Fantastic. If you've got the, here's what I would suggest on your website, talk about the perceived objection right up front, and have people, if you can, allow them to order a test sample so they can test the quality. Do you do that?
Yeah, I should do that. But I mean, all my clients so far have just loved the product. They've just been...
So yeah, if you're concerned about it, you might want to just talk about the elephant in the room and put it on your website.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good stuff. Awesome.
Nancy, you've got several more questions and you're running short on time.
I know, and I have just one more piece that I want to share before we wrap up, and it has to do with overcoming objections, because we all run into them.
Well,
so,
do you want to take a couple of questions, or do you want to complete and then double back?
Complete and then double back.
Okay.
Because this piece is really juicy. And if you want to email me your question, you can email me nancy@nancymatthews.com. More than happy to be of service to this awesome community. So let's talk about overcoming objections. So the first thing is this part I'll do just quickly, and I promised it, so I want to make sure you get it. All right. So being able to melt away concerns and objections starts with you being prepared and being empathetic, because you already know what the most common concerns and objections are. Zig Ziglar says Every single sale has 5 basic obstacles. I have no money, I have no, there's no need, no money, no hurry, no desire, or no trust. Does this pretty much cover, or I have to ask my spouse? That's probably the other one that you get. This is what, oh, they don't have the money. They don't really need it. They're not in a hurry. This is gonna come up. So since it's gonna come up, why not be prepared? And this is where you do a little bit of work ahead of time and it will work out great. So what I'm going to recommend, and this is what I told you, a nuanced technique that you probably don't hear many people talking about for overcoming objections. And that is, for each one of these objections, find a client story or an example of your own where you felt the same way that shows how you overcame that challenge. So for example, let's talk about no time. This is Leslie. When she wanted to hire me for coaching and she got into my highest coaching package, but she was already busy. She ran 3 businesses, had rental properties, little kids and grandkids she was taking care of. She had no time. So what you would say to someone is, oh, I just don't have the time to do that program. I can totally get why you might feel that way. Surely our lives are so busy today, and with everything you have going on, I can get you would feel that way. You see how I agreed with them? I didn't say, oh, you don't have to worry about that. I agreed with them. I was empathetic. Let me tell you about Leslie. When Leslie and I started working together, she said, when I started coaching, we owned 8 rental properties. Fast forward now, we're closing on our 25th rental house. Plus, in that time, I formed a nonprofit and grew so much personally and professionally. So think back to other people that you've worked with who had some of these same challenges when they started working with you, and create stories that you can share. And again, you got to be empathetic and understanding. So this one is Stacy. Stacy wanted to hire me for coaching, but she'd been burned by others. She didn't have any trust, not only in me, but in herself, that it was going to work out if she invested all this money. So Stacy, I have a testimonial where it talks about she felt this thing of no trust. This is Nina, who was like, oh, I don't know if I can afford taking your program. Well, she took the program, and after the first call, it paid for her program. Debbie was coming to our training, and she didn't really need to learn how to do speaking. That's what the training she was going to come to. She thought it would be interesting. She wasn't in a hurry to do the training or hurry to get coaching. But what uncovered for her when she came to our training is she got the courage to share her truth. And since working with us, she wrote a book. She's been on Dr. Oz. You see what I'm doing here? By just giving examples of those 5 basic. So go back and grab this one here. Every single sale has these 5 inherent objections. Come up with stories. And if you don't have a client story, you probably felt this way about something. Use your own personal story. We all know stories sell and facts tell. But remember to be empathetic and caring in the process. Okay, I really wanted to share that because that's such a juicy way to deal with concerns and objections that has people feel heard. And I hope it makes a big difference for you. And when you're doing copy, like everything you're learning here is for copywriting on social media, for writing email campaigns, for putting sales pages together, all of that. It'll work for all of that, this technique that I'm sharing with you. All right, more questions, Roger. And then I know we're almost done.
Question from Julie. How do I get the first sale, and what online venues?
I need more from that. Is that Julie that we were chatting earlier?
So Julie, as you unmute,
Okay.
Another question is, what are your favorite books? This is from Bar. Favorite books?
Ah, good one, Bar. So of course, my book, The One Philosophy, I better like that one. I like The 4 Agreements. I like, oh, this one is really good. The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Shen. I like The Sensational, I keep the ones I love close by. The Sensational Leader by Dwayne Cummings. Power versus Force. Should I keep going? Books are my thing. But you probably knew that, Bar. Julie's up.
Yeah, you said you're in the Women's Prosperity Network in another group.
So Women's Prosperity Network is my company. So check us out and come play with us. There's lots of ways that you can get involved. And then my other company is called the People Skills Academy. So I have communication curriculum and classes and a whole faculty to help people get along. That's part of that big vision I have of a world where everyone treats each other as the one. If we had better people skills, we could do that.
Mike is asking what city you're based out of. I know it's Florida. I just don't know what city in Florida.
I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
And Julie, are you coming on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're getting your first sale and you're new to this online business, how do you present yourself online in the first place?
So what is it that you sell?
So I do photography, mostly of nature, but also I've done some church photography of portraits and churches, and I do stuff like that. My friend, she does Zooms for breathing and music, and we're both arts.
So do you want to sell your photography purely online? Is that what you want to do?
I wouldn't mind doing it in a store, but I think online might help boost sales.
Yeah, so you might want to start, like there's ways for you to set up a store on Instagram and Facebook and Etsy. You might want to start by putting a store of some of your art up on Etsy, for example, to start to gain some traction and get some customers to leave reviews, and then go ahead and build a website or go to Instagram and stuff like that. That would be my suggestion for your friend and also for you. I would get yourself clear on why you do what you do. Like, why do you share this art? And we want to get you positioned as the expert behind the product that you share so that you can get on podcasts and shows and social medias and speak about your passion for what you do. And that brings attention so that people buy not only what you do, but they're buying you. They got to get to know you.
And then
That was helpful.
next
Oh,
question
thank you.
is from Bhavna. How are you getting your leads? And this will have to be the last question.
Okay, I get my leads. I get a lot of leads by referral. I get a lot of leads from speaking engagements. I typically speak anywhere from 3 to 15 times during a month. And I go networking and I post on social media and people interact with me and I create relationships. And thank you.
Great. Wonderful. You, Nancy, have covered a huge amount of territory in a very short amount of time. And I was able to follow it. Well done. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. I wanted to bring value to you all, and definitely grab that free training. And I'll put the link in the chat. I actually have an in-depth 6-part training where I take you even further with this. I'll put the link in the chat for that if you want to go a little bit deeper with it, but get started definitely with the free link that I put. I'll put those both in the chat.
Great. Thank
And
you.
go sell, let people know who you are because they need you.
On behalf of EIN's 82,000 members, I want to extend a huge thank you to you. Like I said, you have taken a real complex topic and distilled it down to its essentials. Thank you. Thank you to the Moon and Back.
My pleasure and my purpose. Thank you.